Hi, I'm back. I'm going to be changing the oil on the 1993 Kawasaki 1500 Vulcan. So far I pulled the plug. It's a 17 millimeter. It's on the left-hand side of the bike, just right below the engine here on this side. There is a 17 millimeter plug. I pulled the filter. Here's a new one. This is a K&N, but one of the nice things that I've noticed is the K&N filter also has a 17 millimeter. Super easy to get off that way. The one that was on there fortunately did, and I bought a K&N, and I don't know if they're all that way, but I think I just lucked out, and the one I bought has a 17 millimeter on it. There's also a screen that's over here on this side. I'm going to pull the screen out. It's I busted it loose, and it's kind of the last little bits dripping out of it. I'm going to pull this screen, according to the manual, it's got a little O-ring seal in the back and it's spring-loaded. It's a screen. So here's the cover from where the screen comes out. Looks like this. And set it down here. You want to look and just kind of make sure the O-ring looks to be in good shape, and it wasn't leaking, so I'm assuming the O-ring is in good shape. That's the front O-ring, and there's a back O-ring. I can find this screen, pull it out. Here it comes. Okay, it took me, I had to kind of piddle around with it a little bit. And it looks, actually the O-ring looks good. The screen looks nice and clean. There's a little bit of, looks like maybe some sludge that's in there. I believe the oil that was in this from the previous owner, I think it was a petroleum oil. I'm going to put a synthetic back in it. This will be the first synthetic oil change. I'm hoping that the wet clutch should be fine. I looked online. There's some of the Vulcan forums and Kawasaki and motorcycle forums. Some people says don't use the synthetic. Some people says they've been using it for years and years. So let's just use it and see for ourselves. But and one other thing, and this could be a mistake, but O'Reilly's, I used their standard synthetic oil, and they were out of the 10W40, and I had to buy 5W40 instead, so hopefully that's not an issue. I don't think it's going to make that much difference here in Tennessee, where our weather stays pretty warm, and I don't plan on driving it when it's super cold. Let's get this thing all cleaned up nicely. This thing's kind of looks like it's had a rough life. It's I don't know if it has been pulled every time they do a change, but there we have it. It's a little bit dirty. Not too bad. All in all, it's not bad. There's not much debris on it. I'm happy with it. This bike, by the way, it has 20,000 miles on it. And I was looking in, I believe 24,000 miles is when you should change your oil that's in the drive shaft. And then the back hub, where the gear oil that's inside of there. So we're going to save it for next time. Alright, so I'm going to put the filter and the screen, everything back on it. Just make sure when you do this that your O-ring goes back the way it was. And another thing, you want to make for sure your O-ring here, just wet it with either new or old oil, and then look at where the other filter came off and make sure that the O-ring that was on it didn't stay on your engine, because you don't want to stack those because they will leak. And if you double stack them, eventually it'll give out. It won't do it right now, but after driving it a little bit, it'll give out. You don't want that, especially on a bike. Have an oil slick going down the road. I'm going to put these together, and we'll fire it up and make sure everything is not leaking. Getting ready to go for a ride. I thought, well, I'll change the oil first. That way I know if there's going to be a problem. with the type of oil that I'll find out right away if the clutch is going to slip or if there's any issues like that because of the lighter oil, the 5W instead of 10W40. I mean, how are you going to know unless you try, right? And if it does, no big deal, I'll drain it and switch it out. But I don't think it's going to be a problem, and according to what I've read, it doesn't seem like it's going to be a problem. And you want to make sure, obviously, not to cross-thread the aluminum. Get the threads all boogered up. That would be bad. So this seems like it's going pretty easy. And I think it's kind of cool that everything's the same size, so it's a one-side socket that 17mm takes care of everything for you. Don't over tighten. Just run it down and snug it. Get the filter. Get it ready to put in. Wet the O-ring. Wet the O-ring. There we go. Let me go ahead and the surface looks clean, but there's a little bit of black oil where the old O-ring gasket was. Wipe that off. There's really nothing to change. This is a very easy oil change on this thing. And again, just snug it up. You've got a ratchet, so you can really over tighten this easily. So if you're using a ratchet, just kind of run it down till it stops. So maybe go, I don't know, a quarter to half a turn. I think that's more than I could put on it if I was hand tightening it. So that should be plenty good. Yeah, it's good and tight. And this is supposed to take 3.5 quarts. So I'll put 3.5 in it and we'll go from there. All right. Thanks, honey. I guess I'll put the plug back in. Let's see, where is it? Stupid plug. I think it's right here. Yep. You got congratulations, you got a oil one. Where the hell did it go? There it is. There we are. These look like, because they're 17mm, they look like a standard socket's been on them. You know how it kind of, it's not rounded or anything, but you can tell that they must have really been obsessive about changing the oil. It's either been changed a whole lot or they haven't had the, maybe channel locks or something. I don't know. I don't know. Hey, that was like a E. Is that an E tune? E. Yeah, I think so. Have to tune that. I'd like for it to be a G. All right, not real tight. Just kind of run it down snug and give it a little bit. I'm not sure how many inch-pounds a little bit is. I think it's around, I don't know, maybe. All right. All good to go. Now you need to put some oil in it and We'll see if it's gonna burn up because of the 5 instead of 20. Here's what I got for oil. Just standard synthetic, no extra stuff. I don't want to risk bringing in extra components, not knowing. Plus it's cheaper like this. All right, I've got the oil ready. I've got it marked. That should be 3.5 quarts. Here's where it's at 5. So this should be 3.5 used. And we'll see how that does. I'm gonna go ahead and put the whole 3.5 in it, and then should be about right. They make a tool for this, but it's very expensive. So I just use a good quality screwdriver. Turn it around to bust it loose. And for the gear oil, it's the exact same. It's very easy. According to the manual, you just, on the gear oil, you fill it up until it comes out on the back. Not this one, but on this one, of course, you put 3.5 in it, and it should get you to the sight glass. Okay, looks like I'm gonna have to hold that. So far my videos had put a couple more of this bike. I've been kind of making videos since I bought it. Obviously I'm no motorcycle mechanic, but you can put in the comments, see if you can spot how many things I'm doing wrong. So far I've had like, I think 20 people has watched the videos, so maybe if someone here watching this actually sees some things I'm doing wrong, it's highly likely. Point it out. Otherwise I'll just keep doing it wrong. So this thing, I guess with it being a 1993, it's pretty old. The mileage is low, but you can tell it's, you know, like the chrome has got some rust and stuff, and it's not super clean, but I think it's going to turn out to be that's where we're at now. I think it's going to turn out to be a good, reliable bike. I like it. The plexiglass or the nose shield, the barrier it's like it won't clean. I don't know if the surface is no good on it, but I'll either have to replace it or just remove it, one or the other. And I've thought about cutting it and maybe lowering it, and like to change the wheels, but I don't know. I may just ride it. And it's been years since I had a bike. My last bike was a 600 Eliminator. I bought it new, and I was really young. It's been 25 years ago, and I didn't have it long. I wound up selling it, and so here we are, almost there. I need to put a little more in it and check the sight glass. And so far I don't see any oil running into the floor, so I'll take that as a good sign. So if I do take an interest to riding like it looks like I'm going to, I'm really have enjoyed the few times. I've put about 20 miles on this thing so far, and I've really enjoyed it. I got to fix some blinkers and just some little things. And then also where I removed and replaced the carburetor to fix a fuel leak, I still haven't put a lot of the stuff back. So I've still got all that to do. So there it looks like that's more like closer to 4. So that's about 3 3/4 quarts of oil. So let's see what that looks like on the sight glass. I'm thinking the filter may consume a little bit of that. Yeah, that's gonna, hopefully the filter does, because right now with the bike leaning, the sight glass is halfway in between the marks. You can see with it leaning, that's I don't know if you can see that in there, but you can see that's halfway with it leaning. So I may have a little too much in there. We'll see. I don't know. Be like vice grip. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. All right, here we go. The O-ring looks good here too, so I'll go ahead and wet that and put it back. Because I know I at least have enough, possibly too much. I know I've mentioned a couple times so far, I've still got to put that back on. I don't know how many times I'm going to mention that before I actually do it, but I think that makes number three times. All right, wipe up the oil. And I'm done. Now I've got water in the radiator. I'm kind of flushing it with water, distilled. I used distilled water, and I'm going to flush it. I didn't put any vinegar or anything like that, but I'm going to run it for a bit and flush it maybe 3 or 4 times over the next week or two. All right. That's that. Thank you very much. See you.